just left Harpers Ferry, and I'm on what is probably the flattest, easiest trail on the entire Appalachian Trail. I think I have it for about 2 miles, maybe if I'm lucky. And then it gets a little more intense, but I'm following the river here. I think this one's the Potomac. Could be the Shenandoah, though. I'd have to check. But lovely morning. It's about 7 o'clock. I spent 2 zeros in Harpers Ferry because I wanted to get the videos up and had to catch up with all of that stuff. And wanted to get some footage of Harpers Ferry because I think it's really an important town along the Appalachian Trail. So I did want to get some of that footage. And that's pretty much it. Just looking forward to a nice day today. It may rain, but it is so flat on the elevation map that I think it's going to be a relatively easy 24 miles today. I say that now and I could regret it, but that's what it looks like now. So that's my goal, 24 miles. And the following day, I think I have 20 into Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. And then in a day or two after that, I'll be at the official halfway point. So I'm just about to leave West Virginia. I left Virginia, the longest state, to get into West Virginia. And now I'm leaving the shortest state, West Virginia, which I think is 4 or 6 miles. So we have 5 states down: Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and now West Virginia. So I'm only in Maryland for, I think it's 30 some miles in Maryland. And then Pennsylvania is about 230, 250, something like that. So the states are kind of going by quick now, and it's kind of nice. It feels like forward motion. So I will check in later. Throughout most of Maryland, you're in state park land, and it's wonderful to see some of the history that they've documented there that you can kind of read up on and walk through. This is the original Washington Monument, which has its own little section in a park, and there's a winding driveway to get up to it, which on boards has the history of Washington as you go up it, which is kind of nice. And there's a caretaker there and park officials, but sadly not a lot of visitors. I was the only person at this monument at the time I went. One thing that you'll notice about Maryland right away is its trail is wonderful. As a hiker, you have to love Maryland for the trail. There are little patches of rocks that you do have to go through, a mile here, a half a mile there, but by and large, the trail through Maryland is this clean and well maintained. And the word that kept popping into my head as I was walking it is that it feels presidential. And I think it's just because there's so much history around here. The Washington Monument, obviously, and Camp David, I think, is close by. And it just has a very presidential feel. And I really enjoyed it. So I'm very excited because we're coming up on Penmar State Park, which the AT goes right through, and they have a soda machine here, I've heard. So I'm gonna get my beloved Coke, hopefully. So there was no soda machine, but I was sitting in the park talking to a maintainer and bemoaning the fact that there was no machine for me to buy a Coke, and a man came over, a wonderful guy, and said, "Are you a hiker?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Come on over and help yourself to whatever we have left. We have soda and food." It was my son's graduation, so it just made my day. Thank you so much, Mike. Really appreciate it.
and you can see from the way I was pigging out, I really enjoyed it.
So this is a big one. It's not just a state border I'm crossing. I'm leaving Maryland and going into Pennsylvania, but it's the Mason-Dixon line. So I am going from the south, which I've loved. The people particularly have just been so wonderful to what I call home now, which is the north. So interesting switch over today. Welcome to Pennsylvania. Oh man.
This is Caledonia State Park. We arrived here about 7:30 in the morning after our hostel stay in Fayetteville, and boy did we get it at the right time. The way the sunrise and the light was playing through the trees, and it was just beautiful. I think it was my favorite park so far on the entire Appalachian Trail. You can see it just has a different feel to it than many of the other parks that we've been in, and it might have been the time of the day, but it certainly just had this majesty to it. That's the word that kept coming into my head. And you can see the size of some of the trees, the scope of the park by the people that are walking there. It really was just a beautiful, beautiful morning.
So we're coming up on the official halfway point, and they really went all out with the sign. 1094.55 to Springer, 1094.55 to Katahdin. It's what a relief. Halfway there. Now only 1094.55 to go.
This is a much nicer sign to indicate the halfway mark. It's from a few years ago, and I understand why they don't want to redo a really nice sign like this every year because the trail changes, but this is the sign most people prefer to get pictures with. So just past the halfway mark is Pine Grove Furnace State Park, which is what we're entering now, and that's the Ironmasters Hostel to the left there, and which was recently renovated, I think about 5 or 6 years ago. It wasn't much to look at, and they really did a great job. A nonprofit, I think, really renovated and created historical kind of museum out of it, but also opened it up for hikers. And just past that is a convenience store in this state park that sells ice cream. And if you so choose, you can participate in a challenge, which is called the Half Gallon Challenge to honor the halfway mark for through hikers. And what it is you have to eat half a gallon of ice cream within under 30 minutes, which I did attempt, as you could see from the opening segment there, and I started out really strong. And by the time I got to the bottom, it wasn't as tasty as it once was. But I was fortunate enough that I did make my way through it, and not really liking it there at the end, but took it in, and I was surprised to find out that they don't make half gallons anymore, and what I ate was 1.5 quarts. So I had to eat an additional pint of ice cream. And so they gave me this pint of raspberry, which I finished, and this was the prize I got. I don't even think these things cost a penny, but I am officially a member of the Half Gallon Club.